Yo everybody, welcome back, and let's jump straight into things. Kicking off part 2 of making the break at Tour Utah. Right away, got a good gap going. A select group of riders, one guy from each team, with there being 2 bridge lane guys, so I knew that would be a tactic they'd be looking to play later on. And going up the first KOM, things were pretty hard. We definitely were still pushing and rotating really well and no hesitation as the Peloton was chasing and trying to close the gap. We had some guys jumping across, and once guys start jumping across, everyone decides they also want to try to get across, and it creates a bunch of mayhem out back. So going into the first KOM, things were pretty hard, and I wasn't sure if Lachlan was going to try to go for points since his teammate Alex Howes was in the Polka-Dot jersey. I didn't know if Lachlan was going to go for the KOM points to try to prevent Hayden McCormick, the guy right there on the left who just attacked, and we're like 200 meters out from the KOM line. I didn't know if he was going to try to take maximum points to prevent Hayden from going in the KOM jersey, but looks like that wasn't the case, and Hayden took the full points, putting him in the lead at the KOM jersey. About an hour in, I go back to the team car. Maxime, our sport director, is kind of telling me how to play the day and what I should be looking for, and just keep things smooth, and giving me some fresh bottles as well, keeping me hydrated as it was pretty hot that day and windy. So, and with altitude in Utah, it's really dry, so you need to make sure you stay on top of hydration and nutrition. And things were relatively smooth pretty much the whole day. Coming in the last 20K, Dylan Sutherland from the Bridge Lane team attacks as he's the only one with a teammate who is in the Polka-Dot jersey, Hayden McCormick, in the field with us. So everyone kind of saw it coming. We were expecting them to try the old 1-2 method. And this is like 5K out from the last Pt.2 climb before the drop down to the finish. And we kind of just kept rotating. Right now we're about a 1K from the base of the climb. You can tell no one really wants to pull, no one wants to do any work. It's a slight headwind. You can see right there the Italian rider giving us the old brake check as he's a little frustrated that no one's pulling through. And coming in this roundabout, guys kind of start taking off, and I'm trying not to be in the wind as it's still a headwind right here, and we're going to go left through this roundabout, creating a crosswind coming from the right, pushing us all into the gutter on the left. McCabe was riding really well this week, so I figured being on his wheel wasn't a terrible move, and through the race radio, my sport director was kind of telling me to watch McCabe as he figured he'd be good up this punchy, steep little last climb. You can tell it's kind of just a waiting game. We're all the way in the gutter, everyone's kind of just waiting for that attack to come, and the climber's waiting for it to get a little steeper before they really make their move, as that's when an attack will be the most effective. We're definitely not going easy. My goal at this point was just to beat a couple of guys and just hope for a top 10, as that would have been awesome to finish the week with that. And here goes Lachlan on the left side. Hayden McCormick jumps with him, McCabe jumps with him. And I had no power to go at this. I was just trying to follow the wheel and hope they'd bring him back. And being at altitude this high up and knowing the climb, I've ridden this climb a few times, knowing how steep it is at the top, I just tried to do everything I could to keep from burning that last match and just absolutely detonating. As the fatigue's pretty high with this being stage 5 of the race. Heart rate really doesn't want to go up, legs are hurting pretty bad, but knowing you're going for the win potentially is a lot more motivating than being in the field. Fast forwarding the first little bit of the climb, guys start attacking, deciding Lachlan's move is pretty serious, and they have a good chance of staying away. You can see McCabe's coming back, and guys are just kind of all over the place. Just no one's really in a rhythm at this point, as it's pretty steep, still really windy. The altitude is starting to take its effect, at least on me it is. So I'm just trying to crawl my way back into this move here, and just climbing with the group is so much faster than being on your own. And it's a lot easier to stay motivated when you're still in the pack. So I go around through a 3 guy, he's kind of letting a little gap go, and I just didn't want to miss the move over the top. past the Olympic Park, the sport complex. I still wanted to be in the group, as is a quick little downhill into a fast last maybe 2K before the climb turns to dirt. And Evan Huffman attacks what's left in our group, and right now the only guys off the front are Lachlan, Dylan Sutherland, and his teammate Hayden McCormick. And right here I kind of try to give it a little dig. I was feeling alright, feeling a little recovered, just trying to call people's bluffs, seeing if I give a little surge. You can kind of see how people are feeling. Here's the leaders. They're just cresting past the Olympic Park. You can see it's Hayden and Lachlan have caught Dylan, and they go right by him. And this is in Lachlan's best interest to make sure it's not 2 against 1 going into the dirt section. We just crested the top. We're ripping this little downhill, and it's good to get a little breather. As you know, what's to come is just more climbing, and guys are just really hurting. No one really wants to pull. Here I'm kind of doing a little dig going into the gravel section, and I made a really bad mistake of going right. I didn't pre-ride the gravel, I only rode the road part, and I go right and McCabe kind of goes right, and the left side was a lot more compacted dirt, so it was definitely the faster line, and I was just dying right here. I was doing everything I could just to kind of keep some sort of rhythm going. It's really steep. We're at 11%, and it's loose, sandy gravel mixture. And this is where I just kind of start to lose contact with the chase group going after Lachlan and Hayden. Coming around this sandy right-hander bend, you see the camera bike passes me, and I'm just trying to just catch this group before this last descent. This is the final KOM. We're coming up on maybe 200 meters out from the last KOM, and it's just crushing me. I knew if these three were together and I wasn't on the back of it, I wouldn't be with them for the rest of the descent. And I finished maybe 5 seconds back on the KOM, as this is a really technical downhill. It's really fast going into a few tight turns, and I didn't know this descent super well either, which was also my mistake. I should have recon this a little better, as you know, when you're reconning, you don't think you're going to be in the chance for going for the win, so I didn't really ride it at all, and just didn't know the descent as well as I should have, and I kind of lost the group. You can see they put a couple of seconds into me. This is going back into the last 2K uphill finish. The cars are starting to go around me and head up to the leaders just in case they have a mechanical or something. And right now it's just every man for themselves. The group's splintered. There's guys literally all over the road, and I'm just doing as much power as I can to just make it to the finish and go for that top 10 like I was hoping for. You can see Michael Rice from the Action Hawkins Berman team passes me, and we're just working our way up to Sam Boardman on the Wildlife Generation team. And once again, I'm trying not to burn that last match. We're almost all together. We're 500 meters out from the finish. Still doing a lot of power at altitude, and it's just terrible. I almost don't even remember this part of the race as it hurts so bad. But the good thing is if you're hurting, everyone else is hurting. So right here, I try to attack up the left side before the finish, as Michael Rice is a really good sprinter, and Sam Boardman also has a great kick. So I kind of wanted to play my cards a little earlier. 300 meters out, coming around the right-hand bend, I give it a little kick and don't really get a gap. Here's Lachlan and Hayden coming into the same section. Lachlan takes the inside on the right-hand turn. He does a really good job coming into this sprint, as it's a really long sprint but narrow, and Lachlan cuts off the inside right here. You can see it forces Hayden to go to the outside, which was definitely the fastest line. And they come down to a bike throw, which is pretty wild. Lachlan ends up taking the stage by half a tire length, so impressive ride by him. And I tried doing the same thing. I take the right-hander, because I knew this was tight. I take the right-hander, give it a little kick, and my biggest mistake right here, we're sprinting for 7th place. I hear those guys coming up on my right, and I just leave it. I leave them a little room, and they just push me out. And you can see Sam Boardman takes the inside. Michael Rice kicks around him, and Michael gets him at the line for 7th. Sam Boardman gets 8th, and I finished 9th. I was just so cooked going in those last couple 100 meters. It was like a blur. You barely remember anything. Once those guys blasted by me, it was just death. Like, I was just coasting in and gasping for air. Coming into the little finishing chute, there's just guys sprawled out everywhere, hitting the deck, looking for the soigneurs to bring water, just trying to gain their composure and catch their breath again. So overall, I was super excited about this day. Never had I thought I'd be coming to Tour of Utah and placing top 10 on one of the stages, and it was really awesome after just days and days of trying to make the break, and then finally making the one break that actually makes it to the line of the whole tour was a really great way to round out the week and go into the last day with my head held high. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.